Yo, what is poppin', my beautiful people? It's your boy Luxy back with another video, and I hope y'all enjoyed my yesterday's video going over my top 3 Tier 9 tank destroyers. So today I was gonna start. This is my last video of this week, and it's actually the start of my new series. If you heard me say it yesterday. So this series is going to be called Luxyy's Lessons. So pretty much this is going to be like kind of like a guide to help players seek whatever help they need in a certain area to master it. However, the first few episodes of this are going to be really basic, just to kind of get those out of the way. So if you are an experienced player and you know the ins and outs of this game, as of now, this video is not for you. So I wouldn't I wouldn't blame you if you clicked off. But anyway, if you are a new player, this video is right for you. I'm going to be going over the tank types today. So pretty much there's 5 different tank types in the game, and we're going to go over each one of them real quick here. So these videos are going to be pretty quick, pretty straightforward, and it's just going to kind of go over the ins and outs of the basics. If you need the playlist, sorry, I keep stuttering. If you need the playlist, there's going to be 3 playlists. I'm going to have basics, I'm going to have advanced, and then I'm going to have expert. The basics is going to be all the basic stuff of World of Tanks, like experience, all the just pretty much like the tutorial based stuff. And then once we get to advanced and experts, that's whenever we're going to be getting into the hardcore, get better at this game type stuff. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the first Luxyy's lesson. So yep, we're going over tank types. Our first tank type is light tanks. So real quick, there are 5 tank types in the game. There is light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, and artillery, or self-propelled guns, whichever one you want to call it. But anyway, you have light tanks. So light tanks pretty much are they're fast, mobile. Their guns usually aren't very large. They're pretty much the scout vehicles. I mean, comes hand in hand, common sense on why they're named light tanks. So they're really quick, they're really sneaky. Their guns usually aren't the main show of them. That's usually just their mobility and their spotting. So light tanks are really meant to be played. You have to learn how to use your bushwork. You have to learn how to just learn the whole concealment and view range mechanic, which will also be part of this Luxyy's lesson. Well, not this Luxyy's lesson, but part of the series I'm doing. But anyway, yeah, light tanks pretty much have the lowest HP at tier, further tier. Yet they're the quickest, and like I said, their guns usually just aren't the hardest hitting. So yeah, those are light tanks. Now we're gonna take it a step further, and we're gonna go to medium tanks. So medium tanks are kind of, they're a cross between a heavy and a light, and we'll go over heavies real quick. Well, not real quick, but we'll go over heavies in a minute. But mediums are pretty much, they're usually not as fast as the light tanks, but they make up for it in either armor or gun or something. Like I said, this general description of these tank types usually it doesn't mean for every single tank. Like certain tanks can have more armor than others, like the E50M, for example. That's not going to be as fast as a Leopard 1. But the E50M has armor to make up for it, where the Leopard 1 has mobility to make up for not having armor, if that makes sense. But anyway, the general consensus for medium tanks is these are really just your all-round tanks. Any medium tank has the ability to sway a battle in their favor. They're the ones that sway whether a battle can usually be won or not. Because you're not usually battling in the trenches with the heavy tanks. You're usually trying to contain the light tanks and maneuver your way around either the enemy's mediums or the enemy's heavies. And pretty much it's all just about using the map and flanking your opponents and being able to get those shots and that damage in your mediums. So anyway, those are lights and mediums. Let's get to the heavy tanks. So heavy tanks are pretty much your bread and butter. Like if you're like, depending on what game you play, whether it be a MOBA or an RPG, if you are a support / tank in those type of games, then heavy tanks are for you. So heavy tanks are the ones that are going to be in the trenches, using their armor, getting up in the enemy's face, and usually they have a big beefy gun to back up all that armor. However, they're usually not very mobile. And like I said, doesn't apply to all tanks. But yeah, heavy tanks usually just aren't as mobile as medium tanks or light tanks, but they make up for it in armor and gun. and they're going to be the ones in the trenches battling it out in the enemy's face, and it's really just about out heavying the enemy's heavies. And if you can do that effectively, you can win the flank and sway the battle. Like I said, medium tanks. So yep, we've gone through 3. Let's get to tank destroyers. So I think it's generally approved that tank destroyers are probably the most fun tank type, because they have these big guns that hit for a lot of damage. However, if you've watched plenty of my videos, you'll know I am not a TD fan, mainly because there's a lot of patience that come with it, and I'm a very aggressive style player. So playing with TDs is very rare for me, and rarely, if ever, do I perform good in them. But yeah, TDs, they kind of go hand in hand with all the other tiers. Like, some TDs are really fast with no armor and a big gun. Some are really slow, no turret, with a huge gun. And it really just kind of depends at looking at your tank stats and analyzing what tank you're in and what its strengths and weaknesses are. That's the biggest thing that comes to TDs, because TDs really rely on whatever their strength is. Because no matter what, you're usually going to find a TD with a weakness. Like, even the E4 considered the best TD at tier 10 besides premiums. And I mean, I say its weakness is it doesn't have a fully rotatable turret. So yeah. Anyway, that is 4 of them. Let's get to our final one. It is artillery. So artillery is it's kind of the meme of World of Tanks. Nobody likes artillery. I rarely, if ever, really play my artilleries. I only play them whenever I get pooped on by artillery and I want to poop on people. So I go in my poop mobile and poop on people in my poop machine. Lots of poops there. Anyway, artillery is really just they have one thing and one thing only: sit in your spawn and snipe the enemy. Pretty much just keep your gun firing. Your big bet is don't really shoot at the light tanks that are running around spotting your team. You're gonna want to shoot the heavy tanks that are in a really good hold down position, that are holding your team down. So like, let's say there's an IS-7 behind a hill and he has his turret right over that hill, so nobody can pin his turret. Well, artillery can just pepper him, because with the new update, yeah, you can just keep firing. You just keep hitting that IS-7 in the top of his turret. He's eventually going to get fed up and he's going to leave that position. I say that's how you play artillery effectively. Now, I'm not saying you can't take that fun shot and try to hit that light tank and one-shot people. It's fun as hell. But I say if artillery is more effective when taking out those hold-down tanks that are holding your team up. So anyway, that is all 5 tank tiers. Hopefully I wasn't too fast. Anyway, yeah, you had the light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, and artillery. I was trying to speed through this as fast as possible because I don't want to make the video too long. But anyway, that is Luxy's Lessons number 1. Stay tuned for next Thursday for Luxy's Lessons number 2, where we're going to be going over experience. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast, and every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the